Hello and welcome in to Tater Talks, the podcast where Tater talks gaming, content creation, sports, pop culture, current events, and whatever the hell we want. I'm your host, Devin, but most of you know me as Taterboy09. For those of you who don't know this side of me, I'm a variety content creator who streams 4 days a week right here on Twitch and posts videos to YouTube, including the podcast and highlight videos. My guest tonight is someone who has been on the front lines of Warzone more times than we can count. He's a sharpshooter at a distance, and a snap of a shot around corners. He can outdrive you on his worst day, and he is the 2019 Bug Eaters Fantasy League champion. Please welcome in Connor, a.k.a. Lucky279. My friend, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Dude, doing good. I'm good to hear. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad that you're on the show. I'm glad that we were able to figure out a time. Especially since you just bought a new house, right?
Yes, we did. It's kind of been a hectic few weeks here.
Well, congratulations, and thanks for letting me spend some time, setting aside some time just for me. So appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Appreciate that very, very much. Well, I got to get the story here because you sent me this picture that I'm using for the podcast for about, you sent that to me about 5-10 minutes before we actually started. So I hadn't really had a chance to react yet. What is the story behind this picture? Please tell me.
Well, we were at my bachelor parties. Joe's go-karting up in Council Bluffs. You have to wear these specialized helmets and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a flame retardant, just in case anything happens. So all they had left were pink. So that's what we had to choose. And then one of my good friends, Trevin, he said, "Hey, let me get a picture of that." And kind of that's how it happened.
Well, you had to pose for it too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I love that the pink, and I love just like the whole aura around it because it looks like you're at like the Amazing Pizza Machine or something about to do their go-karts.
No, Joe's go-karting, very, very fun.
Is that like gas go-karts too? I assume
gas.
Since they're...
Yep, gas go-karts, one track inside. I think they go probably 30, 35 miles an hour, probably something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Do you get a blue shell with it too, or does?
I wish.
Is that only if you get lucky? Got it.
I think that might be only if you get lucky.
Got it. Well, speaking of lucky, your username or your screen name on multiple different categories is Lucky279. I've asked all my guests what they've regretted the most for a past like username. So like what screen name has they just look back on and they're like, man, that just is so cringy. Please give me yours.
Oh, that's a tough one. I've had Lucky for so long.
Oh well.
If
you only got one.
I have more than one. I think it's not even really cringy. Probably the cringiest one would be what was it? I think it was something like Polar Bear Panda. That's when I don't know, I had to make a new account for whatever reason. Something went wrong with Lucky279, so I had to make that account. That'd probably be the cringiest one, but I don't really remember too many more.
Yeah. I remember those like Xbox ones that were like when you first got your Xbox, it was like, hey, let's just give you these two random words and then a number behind it.
Pretty much, yeah.
So a lot of the people, at least on the past shows, it seems like that was what they started with, and it's just a little cringy at times, but hey,
just a little bit. I remember back in the day when for whatever reason, I couldn't afford Xbox Live, and I just had to make new accounts because you got a free month every time. That was one of the Polar Bear Panda ones, and there's a whole bunch of other ones.
Just Polar Bear Panda 1, 2, 3,
something like that. Yeah, I think I made like 5 or 6 new accounts at that time. I don't remember.
That's some real struggle right there, but hey, I respect it. I respect the hell out of it.
My parents say, hey, you want online gaming, you got to pay for it, and sometimes I didn't have the money to keep it up. So
that's right. Yeah. That's right. We can't all be lucky with some of the kids today, but hey.
I know, right?
Since we're all stuck inside, you might as well pay $60 for Xbox Live or something, right?
Oh yeah, if that's all you got, you might as well pay for it.
Right, exactly. Well, what's the story behind Lucky279?
Well, when I was younger, playing with my brother all the time, we'd play a lot of Halo 2, and there was this couple of times that I was playing, me and my brother playing against each other, and I got a rocket launcher, and then I would just shoot it across the map, and I'd kill him. So first of all, it came out to be Lucky Shot 279, but then I lowered it just to Lucky 279, and that's kind of where it happened at. It's probably 15 years ago or more.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
The lucky shot came off when, you're just
Yes.
always making the shots easily. So they weren't
Yeah,
lucky
there wasn't
anymore.
luck anymore. It was all skill.
It was just skill. Let me tell you, I was not streaming that day, but there was a day where me, you, and Buckets were playing, and it was Warzone.
Okay.
And you had the thermal sniper or something like that, and you're just
Yep.
like one-tapping people from across the map, and I'd never seen that kind. I mean, it was like click. You're like, all right, he's down. I was like, okay, he's dead.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, that I remember that day. That day, I think I had a 14 kills when we won that game, and yeah, I just for whatever reason I
Yeah.
just couldn't miss.
it was a 14 kill win, and me and Buckets had like 10 combined, if that. Just dropping dimes,
that was a
dude.
good game.
That was a good game. It was a very good game. So yeah, let's see here. So, I am glad that we were able to get you on the podcast here as well, because you do have a certain unique job right now.
Yeah, kinda.
When everything's kind of going downhill right now. Things are slightly getting better.
A little bit, yes.
So why don't you tell everybody what you do, and we'll kind of go from there.
Well, I work at a hospital here in Lincoln, Nebraska as a PTA, so that's a physical therapist assistant, which is kind of like a physical therapist. I can do everything they can do. It's just a few certain things here and there that, like, I can't see a patient for the very first time. I can't physically discharge a person. I have to have a PT co-sign my notes, stuff like that. But working in a hospital has been a little interesting the last couple months.
Yeah.
I personally haven't seen any of the COVID patients. It's just kind of having to work around. We have a team. We have two teams working. We have two PTs and two PTAs on these teams, and they're the ones seeing the brunt of them. So all I really do is I just kind of have to pick up the slack from what they can't do, and that's pretty much it. So
Yeah. Yeah, still, but you're also a lot closer than a lot of people. But
yes.
would you say?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, would you say a PTA is similar to kind of like a dental assistant, where they're still there, they're doing everything that a dentist can do. There's just some different limitations, stuff like that.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
It's I can see I can do all these different tests that a PT can do. I can get up patients, I can move them. I don't need the okay from a PT that day to say, "Hey, can I go see this patient?" I just kind of have to follow what they have in mind for the patient and kind of just communicate with them back and forth, kind of just making sure we have the best patient care possible for the patients.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you said you're not necessarily in the brunt of it, but even that trickling down from
Yes.
the main groups of people who directly work with you that are handling with, I mean, I don't want to say handling. I don't know if that might be a little bit negative, but people who are taking care of the people who are sick with COVID, which
Yes.
in Lincoln, Nebraska, we haven't had. Did we just hit 1,000 people? Or is it close?
I think in Lancaster County we've hit over 1,000. In Lincoln, I don't know for sure.
Right.
It could be. I haven't seen the numbers in a couple of days, but I know we were kind of, I guess, we're kind of getting hitting our peak a little bit the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and I don't know if it's really starting to go down yet or is it kind of just staying the same. But I think we're close to 1,000, if not a little bit over.
It seems almost like this point it's kind of hard to tell with how testing seems to be much more available for people. So I don't know if that's driving up the numbers. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't know if a lot of us know. I think that's kind of one of the things that we're really struggling with right now is a true source of what we know as opposed to what we don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Since we started doing all these new testing, of course our numbers are going to start rising up. I'm just wondering how many people actually had it before they started doing all the testing and what the numbers actually would be, because I'm guessing it'd be a lot higher than we think it is.
Right. And I think that's to be expected. And how do we know that there's like a bunch of people at home that
aren't
just
getting tested?
Or they're just staying home because they're not, they haven't been out, so they haven't shown symptoms or anything like that.
Yep.
That's what makes this thing so weird and scary.
It is, yes. It's scary how fast and how quickly it can spread from person to person.
Yeah. without showing symptoms,
without
without anything.
I would put money on it that I may have it already. I just don't know because I haven't shown any signs or symptoms. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just being in that environment. Yeah, I have the protection needed, but that's not 100% guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the scary part about it is.
Yeah, it really is. And so, what kind of protection do you mainly have? So, like gloves and the face masks when you're working.
Yep. So since I'm not on the COVID unit, I'm not seeing these people. We have to wear a surgical face mask at all times dealing with any patients while we're walking around the hospital. And we have goggles too that we can wear if we want. I usually only wear them if they're in a precaution room, which is kind of like they need to take like I need to wear like a gown or I need to wear goggles. That's usually the only time I wear them.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are seeing the patients, they're wearing these N95 masks, which are the bigger, thicker
Okay.
masks,
Yeah.
stuff like that. They were wearing PAPRs before, but they kind of went away from that, which the PAPR is kind of like a respirator. It kind of filters out the air, and it's kind of like kind of like a mini hazmat suit a little bit. But they don't
Wow.
really wearing those too much anymore. They're wearing the N95s.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask too, because I've seen you Snapchat me from you at work, or you're doing something at work, and you were wearing a mask, but it was just like one of those, as you say, surgical masks. I didn't know the technical term for it. So you're
That's right,
using
surgical masks.
you're just using a surgical mask, which it should help, but it's not gonna. I mean, is it? I know when this everything when first started happening, the CDC came out and was like, it doesn't matter because guess what? If you have it, you already have it. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're wearing a hazmat suit, if you're wearing just like a regular
surgical mask.
Yeah. So and then they came out like, well, do it to maybe help it a little bit,
Yeah.
So
The surgical masks, they do prevent it because those surgical masks on the outside kind of have like a greasy, oily film that kind of helps trap some of the bacteria and pathogens and stuff like that. But it's not 100% just because they get deteriorated, they get wet from us breathing into them all the time, and it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit at the end of the day. But it definitely is a lot better than not wearing a mask or wearing one of those cloth masks because those cloth masks, they don't really have anything to protect it. It's just like you're wearing a handkerchief or like your T-shirt over your face. They do help a
Yeah.
little bit, but it's not what you need to really get protected.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's still helpful, I would say.
Yeah. It definitely, like I said, wearing nothing is very. I mean, not very very bad, but it's gives you the least amount of protection. At least if you're wearing a cloth mask, it gives you something.
Right. It gives you something, and I think that a lot of the. Well, I don't know for sure, but like bars that have just opened up, which everything pretty much opened up 2 weeks ago.
What I kind of saw.
And then everything's going to open up again June 1 here, which is on Monday. So we're definitely going to see what it's going to look like here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I think that from what I've heard, a lot of places are going to just be wearing like those cloth masks. So at least
I've kind of noticed that.
At least it's something. So
yeah.
It's at least something. So at least we're at least in the point in the right direction here. Do just want to give a few shout outs in chat. Appreciate everybody chilling here. Phoenix is popping off and saying, my boy Conor McGregor, give me your belt. So
I'm guessing I take that as Josh, I'm guessing.
Sure is. You've been exposed,
what
son.
Up, Josh?
You've been exposed, son.
There's your shout out that you wanted to, buddy.
Get shouted out on. For anyone who's not aware, this podcast is streamed live on twitch.tv/taterboy09, so be sure to follow the channel so you know when the show goes live. We have shows every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you're watching this on the YouTube channel as well, because we have weekly uploads on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. So that's my little plug there that I try and space out as we go on. So we're opening up some places, and also shout out to Phoenix for gifting a sub in the chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. And I'm a UFO saying, yo, what up? Fab Central as well. The best mod out there. I didn't stutter, by the way. I didn't stutter. That is his name. He's a great guy. Everybody that comes to my stream wants to talk to Fab Central. They don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to him. So
he's the real MVP.
Yeah, there's MVPs on this chat, and it's just him. So But anyway, so yeah, we do have a lot of places locally opening up here. And Seawalker did mention in the chat as well that the numbers are going to go up with everything opening back up. That's just a fact. And the thing that Lancaster County gets, which sound like such a small town talking about that. I talked about it last week. There's two big towns in Nebraska. There's Omaha, and then there's Lincoln, and then the third biggest town is Memorial Stadium, where the Cornhuskers play. So
yeah.
those are the three big Those are the three big biggest towns in Nebraska. But Lancaster County, which is a pretty big county, all things considered, does also have Crete in it, or part of Crete, but it has the Smithfield plant, which is where a lot of people are unfortunately contracting coronavirus just because it's such, close working conditions. I have heard directly from a source that they have, or directly from, Seawalker in the chat here, that they are at least doing some things well. I think that it is getting a lot of negative attention just because there was that whole story that happened with that girl, that granddaughter of her grandpa worked there, or her dad or something. Honestly, I don't remember. I don't want to be insensitive because it's a very tragic subject, but her relative passed away due to the virus there, and that definitely had a lot of negative attention towards there. But from the way that what I've been told is that it seems like they're still at least trying. They're at least trying to make some accommodations, including cut hours, but still paying their staff full. And then all the same sort of thing, masks, etc., glass shields and stuff like that.
About that one.
Yeah, that's not something I read in the paper. That was something that I had to hear from a worker. So yeah, great shout out.
At least they're doing something to kind of help fight it a little bit.
Yeah, they're doing as best they can. It's tough. I mean, this is the part what makes this conversation political, that I don't want to talk about this as a any sort of political beliefs. I've never expressed any because I don't really have any. But the thing is that we're talking about this, and for some reason, this whole situation turned political.
Yeah, I agree with you on that part.
So any opinions that I express are not from the left, the right, the middle, the far above. This is just what I believe. So, I mean, we haven't really got into what we think and stuff like that because we don't really need to. But
yeah,
I just want to talk about the facts, really.
Yeah, I'm tired of people trying to spin this as one side of the government's trying to benefit from it. It's like it's a nasty thing that we're dealing with right now.
Right.
And it just baffles my mind that anybody could kind of try to make it other than what it is.
Right. It's just unfortunate that everything had to shut down, so then the government had to get involved because the economy was crashing.
Yes.
But
which I'm glad. I mean, for what they did, I think it's going to benefit some people, and I mean, I don't know. I hope they continue doing the right thing and don't try to gain anything from it.
Yeah, it's like that meme where he's saying like, "How's 2020 so far?" He's like, "Well, Australia burned down. We got all this, but hey, we got $1,200.
Hey, we got $1,200. I did see that meme.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Sometimes you just got to try to laugh at situations or try to make them better. And I found some pretty funny COVID-19 memes around there before.
So. If you can't meme about something, at least on the internet, like why are we even,
Yeah.
Why are we even here?
Totally agree.
Why are we even here? Anyways. So let's talk about a little bit more about how us in particular, when I say us, I mean Lincoln, Nebraska, we're going to open up a lot more things. Like I heard from somewhere today that bars are going to start opening June 1. Well, a lot of bars are open.
But kind of just do like that curbside pickup to go thing.
Well, now you can go into some bars, but the thing with that is that you have to be able to purchase food right now because they don't want you just getting, just there to drink.
Plastered at the bars right now.
Well, that, and they don't want you in there very long. They want you in to be able to eat, get some food, get a few drinks, and then they want you out because they don't want you lingering around for as long as possible.
Makes sense.
And I've already seen some people have gone out and, tested the waters a little bit, and hey, more power to them. I'm not going to judge anybody for what they want to do at this point in time because, we don't know. We don't know enough. And that's what I just say about, like, we don't know enough because there's not been enough reliable sources.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very interesting here in the next few weeks to see how things change and how things do go forward.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be very interesting. I'm trying to think. I haven't really heard anything about Omaha, but when they kind of opened up, I really didn't hear like a giant spike in anything. I think it went pretty well for them. But I mean, I've been up to Omaha a few times, going to get furniture for the new house and stuff like that, and
There you go.
there are a lot of people wearing masks. We went to Nebraska Furniture Mart. All the employees are wearing masks. It just still seems like a madhouse in there, but it seems like they're trying to get back to normal and be as safe as possible, which I think is a good thing.
It is a good thing. And what's funny about the whole mask situation is that Americans have never worn like facial masks or like anything to like protect them when they're sick. Like Asian countries will just wear masks if they have like a cough or something like that. You know?
I have noticed. I've seen that before, and I think when they did that, when all this started happening over in China, when they kind of got on top of it very, very quickly, and I kind of wish we did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they seem like they're kind of bouncing back a little bit easier and a little bit quicker.
Yeah. But it's just like a bunch of those other countries that is completely their societal norm. Like if you're sick, you wear a mask just because it's so densely populated. Like for example, in Japan, which Ian in chat said that Japan's all about it right now. I mean, they're just a small island. So their population density is ridiculous. So if they kind of have to.
Yeah. It's like if they wouldn't wear masks, it'd be like everyone would get it. And then like re-get it, because I've heard of other people here in the States that have gotten it, gotten better, and then they've gotten it again, stuff like that. So
yeah, that's
terrifying. That type of situation is like so densely populated. Is like you have to do something, otherwise everyone's just gonna keep getting it and getting it and getting it.
Yeah, that's terrifying. It was like the when they were saying like there's two different two different strains of it right now.
Yeah,
that shit is scary, dude. That's terrifying. That's so terrifying. So terrifying to think that and at first they're like, well, it's going to be slowly mutating, but it's already mutated once. So like,
yeah. So it's like if it mutated that quickly already to a different strain, it's like, a couple more weeks, there could be a new strain that everyone else in.
Who knows?
So who knows?
Who knows? We have researchers and scientists going as fast as they possibly can trying to get a vaccine ready.
And I hear the average time to get a vaccine is roughly 18 months to 2 years.
Yep.
The average to get a vaccine.
Yeah, but
that's another scary thing.
Yeah. Say they're luckily trying to push that through, and I'm sure that they have a bunch of very high ranking scientists working on it, trying to get it pushed through faster, but sometimes you just need time.
Yeah, I'm hoping they can push through the red tape as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so to speak. A lot of people do wear masks because of pollution as well in places like China and Japan. So that is also a good point. It's just, crazy. It's something as simple as just putting some over your mouth. I don't know. That's kind of one of my only things, which maybe you just don't have it, maybe you just don't have access to it. I know they sold out instantly. They were just like, boom, we're out. We have no more. Zero.
We have no more. Zero masks.
We are out.
Yeah. When I heard that they were starting to transform like car manufacturer plants into making the PPE garments, the gloves, the masks, everything, I'm like, geez, that's insane.
That's a really good use of time, though.
It is.
It's a really good way to adapt. Like, for companies like that, I mean, people are, well, at least at first, people weren't really buying cars. I mean, then they were kind of starting to think about it, but then cars are cheap as hell right now. Like,
yes,
nobody
same with houses too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe we should get on that.
Houses are very, very low. We got ours at 3.5.
Is that low?
Yeah. I mean, people, first-time home buyers, they kind of told us they average normally about 5%, maybe 4.5 to 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's only 1%, but 1% is a pretty big number, and buying a pretty large amount of money
for 30 years. Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be a lot over the years. So let me give you a date right here. March 11th. I'm gonna give you 3 dates: March 11th, March 12th, and March 13th.
All right.
You know what those dates are?
March 11th, 12th, and 13th. I do not know what those dates are.
So March 11th is, first of all, I'm a UFO's birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday, John.
from
Some friend I am.
March 11th, a long time ago. That was also the exact same day that Fred Hoiberg got sick at the Big Ten championship game.
Oh, okay.
And it was also later that night that they announced that the NBA season was shut down.
Okay.
March 12th is when March Madness canceled its entire season. And then March 13th is when Trump declared a state of emergency.
Damn. That's a quick turnaround.
We are almost 3 months away from those dates. And those were the dates. Those were the big dates right there where people are like, oh shit, this is serious. This is really, really serious. I was streaming that night. I remember that night. I was streaming the night where Fred Hoiberg, who's the Nebraska basketball head coach, was at the Big Ten championship, or the Big Ten tournament in Indiana, Illinois? Was it Illinois? I think it was Illinois.
They were in Illinois.
Yeah, they were in Illinois, and there were reports coming in from ESPN, Yahoo News, CNN, all these things about Fred Hoiberg, who looks visibly sick on the sidelines of that game, and not just from Nebraska basketball's play style, actually looking sick. Nebraska burn. Boom!
Yep. I did not watch any of that game.
I didn't watch a single bit of it either. But apparently he was sitting there and he was like keeled over. He had his hand over his face. He looked pale. He looked like he was sick. He looked like somebody who did not feel well. And then I'm pretty sure that at that point they had they had him rush to the hospital because they were like, we need to figure out if this is COVID right now. Because that's when things were starting to bruise. Like the beginning of March when things were
kind of, we're hitting the fan a little bit.
Yeah, that's when you were seeing like Washington State start to pick up a lot of cases. So we knew that something was coming, and then it was that same night where they had both teams quarantined in their locker rooms because they're like, we don't know what to do. Like we don't have any protocols right now in place. So I guess you just stay in here until
we figure something out.
Until we figure out Hoiberg is good or what.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I guess nothing's ever really happened like this before, but you would think that you'd have some type of protocol in effect for that specific reason. At least I would think so. But
this is a pretty phenomenal event.
It is. It's like, like I said, nothing's ever really happened like this in our lifetime that we can remember, and then it's like, oh crap, what do we do now?
Our lifetime, we're looking almost at like 3 generations before the last major, last major pandemic that occurred.
Spanish flu in like 1912 or whatever it was, something like that.
It was 1920 is when it was.
1920, okay.
Yeah. Because we've lived through things like, I don't know. Apparently SARS was a big deal. I don't remember any of these. I was a kid, so yeah, I was a kid when like SARS was a big deal, or what was the one from Africa?
You got Ebola.
Ebola, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Swine flu, bird flu. It's like all those were like, oh my god, this thing is, what do we do now? And it's like nothing ever really came with those really. And then this one happened. And it's like, oh crap, we're screwed right now.
Yeah, the difference between all of those other ones were that you showed symptoms right away. So like you showed symptoms before you, and then you knew you were contagious like directly afterwards. This one you can be completely 100% contagious without even showing a single symptom.
I think on average it's like I think 10 days is on average when you start showing signs, if you do, or like you said earlier in the podcast, it's like sometimes you're contagious and you don't even know it because you never show signs. You're just a carrier, that's what I'm kind of afraid of. Since I haven't really shown any signs of symptoms working at the hospital, it's like, oh, what if I have it and I'm just like, oh crap, I'm spreading it to all these people and not even knowing it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's a terrifying thing. Absolutely terrifying. And it's not just you got to think about, because you're pretty healthy. We're all, our friend group's pretty healthy. We're a little overweight, but who isn't these days, right?
Yeah.
Come on, nobody's that perfect.
I know, right?
But
too much.
But we're a pretty good friend group, so we all have, we're all smart about it, and we've all been, I feel like most of us have been taking this pretty seriously. but it doesn't, even if you are taking it seriously, taking all the precautions, there's nothing to say that you couldn't have already given it to 10 people if you potentially had it, which is what is absolutely terrifying about this entire craziness that's happening right now.
Out of all this thing, I think I've seen my parents a total of 3 or 4 times maybe in this last 4 months. Just because my mom goes over to see my 95-year-old grandma, and it's like, I'm not going to give anything to my mom, and my mom has been doing the same thing. She's like, I can't be the reason my 95-year-old mother gets COVID and is probably not going to make it through it.
Right.
So that's terrifying. It's just crazy.
It is terrifying. So it makes this whole thing just absolutely bonkers. Getting a correction on the swine or the Spanish flu, 1918 is when it was.
Ooh,
so
18.
I was 102 years off. My fault. Yeah. Or I guess I was 2 years off, but it was 102 years ago.
Yes.
So let's go back to actually working at the hospital, right?
Okay.
So so you don't see any of them, but you still have to pick up the workload. But do you still feel that you have that is that felt not in just your area, but is it also felt in every other place too? Like, do they have specific groups for specific people?
Yes.
Pulling just like your team is?
Most departments, like, they have nurses that have volunteered to be on the COVID wings and COVID units. Doctors, not so much. They go all over. They kind of can't just say, hey, I'm not going over there. So I'd say every group pretty much, except for like the doctors, are kind of have their own team. So they have specific people working with the COVID patients, and then they don't really see any other patients. So I do see that people are kind of trying to limit the exposure in between hospital staff and the COVID patients.
That's good. That's reassuring.
Yeah,
That's very reassuring. Even especially for an area who wasn't hit that hard, but is still seeing the effects of it. So that's definitely great to hear. You don't work at the hospital that they are doing the tests at, right? That's Brian?
Well, Brian, yes. But they like, are you talking about like the drive-through testing or the actual?
Yeah, I was talking about the drive-through one.
Yeah, Brian has the drive-through testing. They do it at, I think it's at Life Point here in Lincoln, which is one of their outpatient clinics.
Mm-hmm.
But like St. E's, they test people at the hospital, but then they send up the tests up to a different hospital up in Omaha that reads them and sends results. So we don't do any. We do testing in-house, but we don't like read the tests and see what the tests actually say in-house. I believe Brian does, though.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's, they test them, they read them in their lab at their hospital, and then they can get their. Cause I know a guy that works there. They said like their turnaround for test results are like 4 hours, something like that, and for St. E's it's like 2 days because they have to go up to Omaha, read the test, and come all the way back.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That makes sense because I know I read somewhere that they're pushing them out pretty quick. So
yes,
once again, reassuring. So that's good. I guess that makes sense that, you can still be tested. You just probably can't read it somewhere. So
yes,
that makes sense. So what do we think that's going to happen next? So I brought up the sports talk earlier because, you're a pretty big sports guy, just like I am. That's kind of why we're friends as much as we are, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Connor does have the Grand Champion Victory Bug Eaters Trophy, which is an 8-man league that me and a few buddies started, that we've been doing for going on 4 or 5 years now. So it's
I think it'll be the 4th year if we get to do it this year.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to bring up, is that at this point we don't even know if we're going to have an NFL season, which is scary. It
is.
But I still think that if there's going to be one sport, it's going to be the NFL.
I think so. I think just because, like all the other sports, basketball, baseball, they're all huge sports, but it's like kind of nothing matches NFL, I'd say. It's just for the popularity.
You better be careful. You're going to piss a lot of people off here.
All right. I'll say right now, I am a football fan. I'm a sports fan in general, but football is my favorite sport.
That's right. Damn right. Damn right.
I love playing all sports, but the one sport that I mainly watch is football.
We just got some breaking news yesterday. yesterday or earlier today, that the NHL season will, if it will continue, well, the NHL season is done. They're not going to play the rest of the season, but they may, if they have the ability to, if they get through all the protocols and all this stuff, then they're going to do a 24-team playoff.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
whoever wins the Stanley Cup, and that's going to be
So
it.
like it's like winner, like one loss and you're out type thing, like single
Well,
elimination.
that's a great question. I don't know. I didn't read the specifics on exactly what it was,
That's
but
interesting.
it's just going to be one 24-team playoff, and there's probably 30 teams-ish in the NHL. So it's going to be basically who had, the very top teams versus, who had a shot, but you maybe could still play at least a little bit. So that's going to be really cool to see, and it's really cool to see how they're going to also adapt, how other sports might adapt, because we might see an NBA thing that's similar. We might have
I heard that the other day too about the NBA maybe coming back at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Because the NBA Finals is always around my birthday, which is June 8th. So it's always around that time frame. So I mean, we're cutting it
pretty darn close now.
We would be in the NBA playoffs right now.
Yeah, you'd be in the conference finals right now. At some point in the conference finals.
I would think so. I mean, we're running pretty close.
Just getting ready to start them.
Yeah, we're running pretty close here. So, I mean, it's just crazy what they could do. But hey, they want to make money too. I mean, I get it. I get it.
You got to run it like a business. It's like, oh crap, we're losing out on so much money right here. But then you got to think they make so much money in general that hopefully they can be able to recover from this,
right?
And be able to bounce back from not having a final season or the end of their season or whatever.
Right, and you can only hope.
Yeah,
you can hope. I have just floored at how many. And not even as big as the NFL or as big as the NBA or the NHL or anything like that, or any sports in general. Just how quick companies were to react to this too. Just speaking in general, I mean, you can't find a restaurant that's not on DoorDash now, or on like Uber Eats or anything like that. Like they jumped on it right away. They're like, all right, hey, we got to still be able to function. We still got to be able to pay people. We still got to be able to pay for our building and stuff like that. And hey, props to everybody out there, working on the front lines. You.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're not. I guess you're not the front lines, but you're still in a hospital. So I give you credit.
And in closed doors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give credit to all the people that are, like you said, working at the restaurant, working at the grocery stores, stuff like that. You got to do what you got to do to get through all this.
Especially at the grocery store, you can only imagine how.
Oh God, I could not imagine working there right now. Now it's not as bad. It's getting a little bit better. But when it first started, that'd be a tough job to have for a while.
Yeah. When it first started, everything started going down. I went to the store with my fiance, cat lady in chat, by the way, shout out. I went to the store with her because it was a Sunday morning, and it was like 10 o'clock. So probably everybody was at church or something like that. But it was at 10. It was still the week after that it was there, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go with you just in case, because if something happens, I mean, she's tough. She's tougher than me. She would put somebody down. Let me tell you what, she would start a fight and end it before I was even ready to even get going. But I mean, just to be prepared. I mean, you never know what might have happened. That was when the whole toilet paper thing was happening. Everybody was freaking out because there was not a single toilet paper in the whole store or anything like that.
There's a point that I was running pretty desperately low, and I was kind of scared that I wasn't going to be able to find any anywhere. Luckily, I did.
Yeah.
But it's like, holy crap, people are going crazy.
I know. And why did we fucking decide that it was toilet paper that we needed to be crazy about?
I don't understand. But at least it's going back to normal. Last time I went to the grocery store, they almost had a full shelf of toilet paper, so it's starting to get back to normal. So I don't have to worry about not having any toilet paper anymore.
Piece by piece and roll by roll. It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Well, this is also a good stopping point to remind everybody that the podcast is also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and more for completely free. That's right. You think you need a a piece of the Spotify premium to listen to this podcast. You sure don't. Just download the app and search Tater Talks for it. I also post all of the links on my Twitter at TaterBoy09. And of course, it's also posted on the YouTube, youtube.com/TaterBoy09, or someone can do exclamation YT in the chat, and it will pull up. We do actually have to get 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel before we can get TaterBoy09 or youtube.com/TaterBoy09 as our URL. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Once again, free to make an account, free to make a YouTube account. If you don't have a YouTube account at this point, come on now. Yes.
What's your life now?
Right. And yes, Phoenix, this is not streamed live on YouTube. This is streamed live on Twitch and then put on YouTube later.
Come on, Josh, you should know that by now.
keep up with the program, fam. Come on, man. So the bottom line here is that, do we think that there's going to be an NFL season? Yes or no?
I think there will be, but it'll be like no other NFL season that we've ever seen. I believe they're going to do everything in their power to make that happen. But it's not going to be anywhere. It's not going to be anything like we've ever seen before.
I agree. I think that there will not be fans in the stadium, which I'm okay with.
I mean,
it's going to be weird.
Watching it on TV, it'd be like no different than any other thing, really.
I mean, it'd be just like watching a Redskins game on TV. So,
This is true, yeah.
What's new?
What's new with that?
So, I think it probably will happen. What will happen is that it will be an NFL season like we've never seen before. We're going to have no fans, or fans will be very limited. And I mean very, very limited. Because nothing's going to stop people from going to the bathroom. And you're going to have TV timeout breaks to let everybody go to the bathroom when they're here. Like, hey, all right, it's section F4's turn. You can go to the bathroom now.
Yep, or like you can go get a drink now. My dad had he said something the other day is, like, if they do have an NFL season or a college football season, like for all the season ticket holders, like I wonder if they're gonna have like a lottery type system, like, okay, this is your game to go to, you get to go to this game, and I wonder if they're gonna maybe do something like that.
Yeah, that would be bad either.
Kind of got me thinking a little bit.
That would still allow some of the dedicated fans to go to some of the games.
And then maybe just limit certain ticket sales for like people that just want to go to one game and buy a ticket. Like, okay, if you buy a ticket, this is where you have to sit. This is what the price is. There's no getting around it, and just try to do it that way. Because I heard what LeBron said when all this went down. He's like, "There's no way I'm playing without any fans in the stands because we play for them." It's like, yeah, you play for them, but you're a employee of that company, of that team that you're with. You make them money. They give you money. So I wonder how that's going to kind of play effect into it as well.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if there going to be any players going to be like, I'm not playing unless they're fans. I don't care what happens, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if that's going to happen or not.
Well, and it also is them thinking, like, I'm not going to play without fans. It might just be kind of, I don't want to say a cop-out, but a thing to say, like, I don't feel safe, I don't feel safe around other people. So
yeah,
it could also be that.
I agree with that, too.
So
it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be very interesting if they kind of get through all the protocols and get a season actually going.
Yeah, and I think if there's one entity to make it happen, and to make it happen regardless of what will happen, Roger Goodell will make that happen.
Oh, 100%.
That
utmost faith in him.
That psychotic fan, that man who likes getting booed at so much that they had this virtual draft and they had people boo at him. He's gonna make it happen. He's gonna make it happen.
He's gonna be the guy to get it done.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're relatable. We can boo at you now and be funny about it. No, you're still a psycho.
You're still a crazy, crazy fool.
You're still crazy. But hey, you run our NFL. I guess we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
He's going to make it happen. If anybody's going to make it happen, it's going to be him. I can guarantee it. I hope that, I hope that it works out, and I hope that we can all be happy. think that
yeah.
we'd have a riot on our hands if football in general just doesn't come back.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a lot of people that are upset, but
Yeah, it's like if there's no football this year, it's gonna be one boring fall. I can guarantee you that.
yeah, for sure. Especially if cases start to spike again, like they anticipate it's going to.
I was thinking, like, if this does reoccur every year, it's like we have to come up with something different. You can't shut down the country every time this gets bad again. Like, there's no way anyone's gonna survive this.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. At least right now, I feel like we've seen a lot of people who, oh, maybe this is just me in general. Some people I do feel confident about that they've been trying to do their best while they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Okay.
I know for a fact that, well, at least for me personally, I've been working out a lot at home as much as I can, taking supplements and stuff like that. Vitamin D is huge, apparently. I don't know if you or anybody watches the Joe Rogan podcast, but
I do not.
he had what was her name? Hang on, I wrote it down. Rhonda Patrick, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, on there recently, and she is she's a medicologist, or is that even a word? I don't know.
Epidemiologist.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. See, this is why we have doctors on our podcast, because they're smarter than me. That's why we have doctors on here. But she had mentioned during that podcast that there was a very small group of people it was some sort of African country who 98% of those people who got the COVID were vitamin D deficient.
Okay.
So it's leading to believe that, I mean, it's a very small pool of people in one country, but they found that out that like 98% of the people there were deficient with vitamin D. So it's just kind of something to think about. I mean, yeah. I'm not here to be a health expert or anything like that, but if you're not at least trying to take care of your body right now, it's not going to help you. It's not going to do any good. You got to at least try and do something.
Yeah, you have to try to stay ahead of the curve a little bit. It's as best you can. And I did hear that as well. The vitamin D, people taking the supplements and just having excess of vitamin D is helping them out and stuff like that. I didn't hear about that report though, but that is very interesting to think about.
Yeah, I'll send you the screenshot of what he wrote, like a full paragraph on Instagram. I'll send that to you after this so you can read it and see what it's all about. But vitamin D in general is just something that's, in my opinion, it's amazing. I've taken 2,000 units every day for 4 or 5 years now, and I've gotten truly sick once. And it was after I was at a concert and I was like sitting on the ground for like an extended period of time. That was the only time I got flu. I got the flu A, which is what, I'm bringing this a little bit back full circle, which is what Hoiberg had, which is what they found out that Hoiberg had back on March 11th when he was so sick on the sidelines. They're like, oh yeah, he's just influenza A, which is like the common cold. And I was like, bro, I had influenza A. That did not feel like the common cold.
No, it is not like the common cold.
That is.
I take a common cold 10 out of 10 times over getting the flu.
Like, if you have the real flu, it's bad.
It is very bad, especially for the people, just like the COVID, especially the people that have pre-existing conditions, people that get bronchitis, people that have asthma, like myself. That's why I'm kind of like, working in a hospital is kind of scary when you have asthma. Even though you're not working on the front lines, it's like, oh crap, I already have trouble breathing sometimes as it is. So adding this to it is no bueno.
I didn't realize that you had asthma. That's crazy.
Yep.
You are a real trooper, my friend. A real trooper. Well, you know who else is a real trooper? We're going to take a complete 180 on this question here.
All right.
Now. The Packers front office.
Oh, we're going there, all right?
We're going here to end because I've talked too much seriousness shit about this COVID. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's talk about it too much already. I've purposely went out of my way the first 2 podcasts to not talk about it. One, because I knew you were coming on the show and I wanted to spend more time talking with you about it. But alternatively as well is that I'm just tired of hearing about it. We've been dealing with this since March
I am
11th. Like we're saying, it's just at this point, I don't care. These are all my 2 cents about it. Wear a mask in public. Take care of your immune system. Those are my last 2 things.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Those are just taken straight from Joe Rogan. But he's not wrong. Joe Rogan, he's not wrong. He's actually really smart with everything he says, in my opinion. So those are my 2 cents about it. Moving on. And then this. We're just going to dip right into it. Did you like the Jordan Love pick or not by the Packers in the first draft? The first round of the draft.
Initially, I was a little taken back that they did it. After thinking about it, I think it's the right move.
You're skeptical. I don't like it.
I know. I don't know what to think about it. It's like it's the exact same situation as Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. They did the exact same thing, and it turned out very, very well with Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know until I see him actually play. I don't know when that'll be. I don't know. I wish they would have in a different direction with like a wide receiver that Aaron Rodgers can actually move with, and with Devontae Adams that they kind of pair off with each other. But I think in the long run, it's going to be a good move. It's just for if we want to win another Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, I don't think it was the right move.
Yeah, that's kind of the general thought process. I think you're right in a sense. I think that is correct in a sense. However, did you know that 15 years ago, the day of the draft was the same day that Aaron Rodgers got drafted? 15 years ago to the day on that same day, whatever the NFL draft was.
I did not know that.
So just dipping further into the parallels and dipping further into the, hey, let's make this a big story and overblow it for a few weeks because we have nothing fucking else to talk about right now.
Yeah.
So, man, dude, I don't know if you're on Twitter or not, but holy shit, people just were roasting it so hard. Oh, man, it was disgusting.
I'm not on Twitter, but I did see what people were writing, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and I follow a few of the super try hard like Packer life and death people on Twitter.
Gotcha.
So there's a few people who are very very crazy about it. But then there are also people who are like, well, think about it this way. So some of the things that they were saying were sure they were one 49ers team away from going to the Super Bowl basically. Realistically, probably would have lost to the Chiefs. Let's just be realistic, huh?
Yeah, we could have gone to the Super Bowl, but I bet it would have been the same outcome either way.
Yeah. And to be fair, the Niners had that game in the bag, but Jimmy G couldn't throw an overhead pass to Sanders. I'm not bitter about it. I'm not bitter about it.
I mean, that playoff run by him was just insane. What, all 4 games he was down and came back?
Yeah, all
3.
Yeah, all 3. Yeah, that's right. It's pretty nutty. So yes, sure that they probably should have gone with someone like T. Higgins. He was there. T. Higgins was there, and then was instantly drafted in the second round. Which, sure, you probably could have gotten him. But the thing with kind of what some people were saying was that sure it's a win now situation, but they like the guys that they have, and they like that the chemistry that they've had with Rodgers at this point. Because really, we got 6 decent guys now overall.
Overall, yeah.
Because we have people like Devontae Adams, obviously number 1. Got Devin Funchess, who is not a great guy, but he's still a good.
He's a good
counterpart.
Yeah, he's a good number 2,
potentially
number 3
three
wide receiver, potentially 3. Yeah.
But then
I forgot they got him.
Yeah, they got him, and then Alan Lazard is there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is sort of the deep threat guy. There's a guy, I don't know if you know his name. His name is Equanimous St. Brown, or people just call him EQ. Apparently,
I've heard of him.
He was hurt all last year, so he is gonna make a comeback this year, according to what everybody's saying. So I see why people were like, get something now, get something help now. But what they did in the draft is they drafted their future. I think this is one of the better drafts the Packers had in a while because they, number one, drafted their future along with drafting another running back and a semi-skill player, is a tight end, like fullback combo, but he could be used in a bunch of different ways, so he's versatile. And then they just bolstered.
Running back that we lost?
We didn't lose anybody.
Oh, because we have Jamal Adams,
Aaron Jones, Jamal Adams, Steve
I thought we lost Adams.
What's his name? Irvin? Somebody fact check that. I think it's Irvin. He's like the punt return special guy.
Gotcha.
So then after those 3 picks, they just bolstered their offensive line, which guess who beat them last year? A team with 4 running backs and an offensive line that was beyond madness.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I did agree. Like, the 2 things that we needed for the Packers were an offensive line to help out Aaron Rodgers and the running backs, and then the skill wide receivers. If they got one of them, I guess I can't be too mad about it. Especially if you think Aaron Rodgers has, 4 or 5 more years in him, probably?
2.
Me? You think 2?
2.
Oof.
This year or next.
And then he'll be done?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah,
Maybe
dude.
I'm just being optimistic.
Aaron Rodgers is not Brett Favre, dude. Aaron Rodgers.
He's not going to be able to beat him like Brett Favre did.
Aaron Rodgers is ready to retire. He's ready to just be chilling, golfing 4 or 5 days a week, and staying up till 3 in the morning drinking scotch.
Danica Patrick.
And hanging out in California with Danica Patrick. That's what I thought was so funny about that beer chugging contest with him and Bakhtiari at that Bucks game. Because Aaron Rodgers is not the kind of guy who's going to sit there and, just chug a beer. But he will stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning with you, bullshit with you all night, and, hey, drink a bottle of scotch just because that's what he does.
Drink a bottle of scotch, smoke a cigar.
I'm sure he's a very relatable guy. Very, very relatable guy. And you know what, Rodgers? If you want, I can probably find a spot for you on the show if you want to be on the podcast, but it's not a big deal. We'll make it happen if you want. I don't know.
You got plenty of free time as of right now. You can make it happen.
I don't know, man. We're booked almost through July, so hey, man, we're letting this roll. This is not a stop and do a few episodes thing and quit. That we're in this for the long haul.
There you go. I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, dude, we're rolling with it. We are rolling with it. This is not something we stop. Speaking of, if you want to hear about some great motivation pieces, I did watch the Joe Rogan Experience today. Imagine, I would just like to say, just imagine on your own podcast throwing out other podcasts you should listen to. Just saying, Joe Rogan Experience is great if you actually like some. He has some forward. I don't want to. Some really strong ideologies about some things that I don't agree with personally, but he's a smart guy, and I trust blindly everything he says because I know he's researched the hell out of it.
Yeah.
His episode with that just came out recently, it came out yesterday actually, with Kevin Hart, is one of the probably top 3 for me.
Okay. Check him out.
So yeah, absolutely give him out. Check that out. It's also available on Spotify. So while you're checking that one out, make sure you check out the Tater Talks podcast, available on Spotify, for free. So yeah, just do that. Also, on the topic of Joe Rogan, his episode where he was talking with one of the leading experts at the CDC or something like that, also came out around March 11th. So that was when just all this shit was happening. I mean, that clip that he had for the first 10 minutes of that particular podcast was trending on YouTube, in the top 5. So it was a very, very crazy time, very crazy clip. Very, very crazy. Well, we're sitting at about an hour here, so let's roll it, call it a day. Do you have anything you want to promote? Anything you want to shout out? Anything at all?
Just because I promised him I'd do it, I give another shout out to Josh Rezab. He's my Apex buddy. Won a lot of games. Other than that, just be vigilant, people. Stay safe. Try to do your best. That's about it.
That's right. like I said, if you're not taking care of yourself, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta. I had to say it, but if you take care of yourself, you'll be taking care of other people as well. So you just gotta keep at it.
It's true. It's true. Man, you make me tear up over here, man. So
That's what I do.
inspirational.
That's what I do.
So inspirational. But for real though, if you think about it, your body's kind of like an engine, you know?
A little bit, yeah. If one is, I always I tell my patients, your body's like a chain. Everything is connected. If one thing starts going bad, it leads to something else. You got to keep everything running smoothly as possible.
That's right. That's right. Dr. Lucky right here. You heard it here first. That is amazing. Good stuff. Good stuff. So at least hopefully somebody can be inspired by that. And you know, it doesn't take much to go walk around your neighborhood for 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You know, just something as simple as that.
Yep.
And also it gets you away from a screen, a TV, a book, something like that. I mean, you know, you read a book or something like that. You know, it gets you outside, gets you doing
Yeah,
something.
you gotta get fresh air at some point throughout the day. We weren't meant to be inside all day. It's
Right.
not how we were meant. It's not how we want to be living our life. You just gotta get outside and make it happen.
That's right. That's right. And that's what we're doing here. Well, once again, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We'll have to definitely do this again. Once I get a few people through here, we'll get you back on when hopefully everything's a lot better in the world. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, yes.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're going to call it here. This is Taterboy09 or Devin, whichever way you know me best, signing off. And remember the slogan of this stream is every minute wasted here, or excuse me. All right, I'm going to cut that out of the video. Cut that part out. We're going to do it again. We'll do it live. No, there's no editing on this. This is a podcast. We don't edit things around here. The slogan of this stream is every minute spent here is a wasted minute, so let's make it a damn good time. And I hope that you all had a damn good time this evening. Thank you very much for hanging out. I appreciate you, and I hope you all have a good evening.